This is an early ride on Espejo in the arena. There's actually a lot that goes on in this ride. So rather than talk about the specifics of what I'm looking for from him, I'm going to just show this whole video in entirety, and in the next few months take the various different parts of it and talk about them more specifically. What responses I want from him is the primary thing, of course, and this is all with the purpose of developing this dialogue that everything in the future will be built from. So of course there's a lot going on here. He's getting pressure from my legs. He's getting pressure in the mouth. Some of the times what I want is a change in gait or a change in direction, and he's got to start to learn to understand the very subtle nuances of those different cues. Some of this flows and is really pretty, and then there's parts of it where he's wondering if he shouldn't kind of just go do what young colts do, and it's not as pretty because he's running into his own pressure. But all of it leads to that end result of a horse that's really understanding what the rider wants, and then it looks like the rider's doing nothing at all. So sometimes what I want when I'm using my leg is for him to pick up the pace, but sometimes it's lateral movement. We all know that horses lean, so working out that lateral is important stuff. There he missed a discussion on stop your feet, so he ran into the bit pressure. Then another tricky spot is that, yeah, I want him to back up, but I also want him to yield to the bit. So I've got to be careful in what I'm rewarding for, because if he backs up while he's bracing on the bit, then I teach him that's what I want if I reward for it. There he's thinking forward, and the bit's telling him that that's not available. Maybe I should put my head down. This is kind of classic baby green horse. Then, of course, when talking about your legs, there's inside leg pressure versus outside leg pressure. There's lateral aids, inside leg and hand, and bilateral aids, inside hand, outside leg. So there's a little bit of all of this going on here. And then there's lots of transitions. Just keep things changing. It keeps his mind with me a little better. Actually, I'm really pleased with that aspect of everything here. I mean, I'm pleased with everything. But he's got his attention on me 100% of the time. He doesn't know always exactly what I want from him, but he's working with me. Now, I call this snake trail. Guess you could call it serpentine. It's a great way of working both sides of the horse and back and forth, and it ultimately leads to straight. Inside leg versus outside leg, and then that switches. So he backs up and yields to the bit, and he gets rewarded. One day, as I start to take the slack out of the rein, he'll get out of the way of the bit before all the slack comes out. Just asking for one step at a time. So with his beautiful long neck, he can have a tendency to really bring his nose into his chest. And if I leave my hands right in front of the saddle horn when he does that, he's going to put slack in the reins and reward himself. And he's going to think that's where I want his nose, is right up against his chest. And I do not. So you may have noticed that when he starts to do that, I take my hand up above his neck and forward a little so that the pressure doesn't come off when he does that. And he'll start to learn that there's going to be pressure in that spot and to quit going there. But none of it's a big deal. Like there. See, he's bringing his nose way back to his shoulder there. So there, I specifically want that inside hind to move. So I just didn't worry about the rest of it, didn't reward it. But as soon as he stepped with that inside hind, I did reward it. And there's inside 4. So like I said at the beginning, I'm going to talk about all of this much more specifically in future videos and articles. Very nice ride. That was fun.